Welcome to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I apologize for my late arrival. Indeed, I believed I was actually online. So I'm speaking to the voice that appears. Anyway, I apologize for that, and I welcome you all. Before we begin, we'll chant some verses of invocation. First Canto, Chapter 3, Text 40. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Vishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasti Yananjahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God, and it is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Text 41. Tad idam grahayam asha sutam atmatvatam varam sarva vedeti hasanam sharam samudratam. Srila Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. So, let's see how we're doing here. I'll chant one more verse to welcome you all. Text 42 of the third chapter of the first canto. Satu samshravayamasa Maharajam parikshitam prayopavistatam payopavishatam gankayam paritam paramashibi. Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink. So let me welcome those of you who have joined. We have Kirtida with us from Norway. Thank you for being here with us. Kirtida says, Dandavat Pranam. Offering humble obeisances. I'm going to change my microphone here because I recognize that the one I think I'm using is not connected. But we can correct that. Maybe we need to plug something here. There we are. Okay, all these little things to check. And now, audio. Excellent. Okay. Kirtina Manjari with us from South Africa. Shama Manjari says, Hare Krishna Sri Prahlada Prabhuji and all devotees. Jai, thank you. Nikunja joining us from Auckland, New Zealand says, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Welcome, Nikunja. Thank you for joining. I'm guessing from your work. We have Kate joining us from Sydney, Australia. Kate says, Hare Krishna Sri Prahlada from Kate in Sydney. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining live. And also welcome those of you who watch the recordings as well. Today we are discussing false accusation, Krishna, and the Syamantaka jaw, life lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapters 56 through to 57. I am sure all of us have experienced where we feel we're being falsely accused or people not understanding us. And the interesting thing is that Krishna himself also experiences this in his own pastimes as well, possibly to give us some solace when we're feeling misunderstood. Like there's a jewel in the crown, the British crown jewels, called the Koh-i-Noor. Some of you may have heard of it. It is 105 carats, so a very large jewel. It is said to be worth $500 million. It has a long history, owned by numerous kings, many of whom were murdered until it came to the possession of Queen Victoria. Apparently, females are not affected by the curse of death for those who wear it, as are males. At least these are some of the rumors and stories surrounding this jewel. I was in fact hoping to see it at the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla earlier this year, as I was in London on the day of the coronation. The jewel is traditionally set in the crown of Queen Mary, and this was worn by Queen Camilla during the coronation. So you might have seen photos of the coronation where the Queen is wearing this crown. You would not have seen the jewel, however, as the crown was altered prior to the coronation, and the Koh-i-Noor is no longer included in that crown. So why am I speaking about this jewel, the British royal family, in a Bhagavatam class? Well, there is a popular legend that the jewel Koh-i-Noor among the British crown jewels is in fact the Syamantaka jewel described in Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't know that I accept that theory, but it is out there. It is the subject of many articles and films, videos that you can find on the internet. And we'll see. Both the Koh-i-Noor and the Syamantaka have something in common. Yeah, they're very valuable. There's also a sordid tale of rumor and quarrel and death as well associated with these jewels. And there is an important lesson here, and that's what I started with. If you feel you've been wrongly defamed through a rumor or a suspicion, you might find some solace in what we are going to discuss today. Once again, we're discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapters 6 and 57. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We will discuss 3 topics. 1. Satyabhama accuses Krishna of stealing the Syamantaka jewel. Verses 1 through to 16 of the 56th chapter. Topic 2. Krishna recovers the jewel and marries 2 princesses. So yeah, lots of intrigue here. Verses 17 to 45. And then the 3rd topic. Scandal involving Satadhanva, Kritavarma, and Akrura. Chapter 57, verses 1 through to 42. That's the entirety of that chapter, in fact. So, let us dive in. First topic. Satyajit accuses Krishna of stealing a Syamantaka jewel. Verses 1 through to 16. Satyajit was a resident of Dwaraka. He received an auspicious gem called Syamantaka money from Vivishwan, the sun god. He was in fact a devotee of the sun god, Suryadev. And when he entered Dwarka wearing this jewel, people believed, in fact, the sun god had come to visit Krishna in Dwarka. And Krishna told them, no, it's not the sun god. It is Satyajit. He's received this gift from the sun god as a token of appreciation of the sun god's, of Satyajit's devotion and service. This jewel was said to produce a lot of gold. So this could be taken metaphorically as well, that you invest money, you get money back. Money begets money, wealth begets wealth. Every day, the gem produced 78 kilos of gold, and wherever it was worshipped, no calamity could occur, I guess, except to the owners. On one occasion, Krishna approached Satyajit and had told him it would be more appropriate if that jewel were in the possession of the king, and the benefit of the jewel would be for the people of the country rather than for an individual. Satyajit, however, refused Krishna's request, and shortly after, his brother, named Prasena, wore the jewel and went out into the forest on a hunting trip. Maybe not too wise, taking such a valuable jewel with him into the forest. While he was in the forest, he was attacked by a lion and killed, and the lion took the jewel. Later, Jambavati, very famous devotee, Sri Ramachandra, he killed the lion. So Jambavati from Ramlila was residing in this area in Dvaraka, and he killed the lion and took the jewel and gave it to his son to play with. Meanwhile, when Prasenna did not return from the forest, Satyajit assumed that Krishna had killed Prasenna and taken the jewel, and he started spreading this rumor among the people, and it caught on like wildfire. So we can pause here for some life lessons. One relates to criticism. Even Krishna is not spared enmity and false gossip, misjudgment. We live in a material world, and this is the place of Maya or illusion. And so once a devotee, he approached Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, people are saying bad things about me. They're not true. They're criticizing me. And Prabhupada said, people criticize me. They criticize Lord Chaitanya. They criticize Krishna as well. So we shouldn't be surprised or overly distressed when we are the subject of criticism, misunderstanding, or rumor. That's the first lesson. We can look to Krishna and say, even Krishna was criticized. Even Lord Chaitanya, even Prabhupada. Why am I surprised or distressed that I'm being criticized or misunderstood or wrongly accused? There's another important lesson here for us, and that is Satyajit's refusal of Krishna's request. We will see that it is the beginning of much inauspiciousness for Satyajit and all that are involved with him. And so the lesson is that we should align our lives with Krishna's will. Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. Whatever he wills is truth. And so when we align ourselves with his will, we align ourselves with truth, the supreme absolute truth. We align with Dharma. There is all auspiciousness. And when we resist Krishna's will, then we struggle and suffer. Resistance is the cause of much suffering to us. We don't want to accept things as they are. We want to resist, and we struggle on that account. Second topic, Krishna recovers the jewel and marries two princesses, verses 17 to 45. So Krishna wants to clear the blemish of his name. So he leaves Dwarka, he goes into the forest following Prasena's trail. He finds the corpse of the dead lion, and he further investigates and comes to a cave. And that was in fact the cave of Jambavati, king of the bears. So Krishna entered the cave, and Jambavati fought with him. They fought for many, many days. Krishna did not return from that cave after 12 days. Then the Dwarkavasis, who had accompanied him, they thought Krishna had died. And so they left, they went back to Dwarka and told everyone that Krishna had perished in the cave, and everyone lamented Krishna's disappearance. After 28 days of fighting, when Krishna's desire to fight had been fulfilled by fighting with his pure devotee Jambavati, Jambavati came to realize that Krishna was none other than his worshipable Ramachandra. And he offered beautiful prayers and expressed much devotion. And he very enthusiastically offered the jewel to Krishna along with his daughter, Jambavati. So now we're reading of Krishna's second marriage. We've heard of his marriage to Rukmini. Now we've heard the story of his second wife, Jambavati. Krishna, he returned to Dwarka with the jewel and with his new wife, Jambavati. The Dwarkavasis were elated to see Krishna because they thought he had perished in the forest. That was the news that had been brought back by the senior members of the Dwarka community that had accompanied Krishna into the forest. And Krishna, he called Satyajit to the royal assembly, and in front of Maharaj Ugrasen and all the senior members of the community of Dwarka, he gave the jewel to Satyajit, told him what had happened to clear his name publicly. Satyajit felt very, very shameful while receiving the jewel back from Krishna. And to atone for his offense of spreading false rumors about Krishna, he decided to offer the jewel back to Krishna. Krishna, you please take it. But Krishna, he returned it to him, says, no, the jewel was given to you by the sun god. You have it. And so Satyajit offered another jewel. Some of you may guess what that other jewel was. That was his daughter, Satyabhama. So Krishna accepted this jewel of a daughter as his wife. And that's the story of how Krishna marries his third wife, Satyabhama. So now Rukmini, Jambavati, Satyabhama. There are 8 principal queens. So we're going to hear their individual stories as we discuss these chapters of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus far, you know the story. I mean, you may know the others as well. Thus far, we have discussed together 3 of 8. Pause for life lessons. One is a principle of humility, respect, forgiveness. Krishna, he demonstrates humility. He seeks to rectify misunderstandings and restore his honor and reputation, and which he does. But he's honorable. In his approach, he calls Satyajit, doesn't show any enmity towards him, but he presents him the jewel, explains the story to him publicly. And then Satyajit, he also demonstrates humility in offering the jewel to Krishna and offering his daughter to Krishna. And there is respect and humility and forgiveness all around, and creating peace and harmony and auspiciousness as well. And so when we're in that position, we should be, when we wrongly accuse and it's proven that we were mistaken, we should be humble and accept. If we've been wrongly accused and the accusing party expresses some remorse, we should also be ready to forgive. Okay, but the story continues, the saga continues. Our third topic, scandal involving Satadhanva, Kritavarma, and surprisingly, Akrura as well. This is the chapter 57, verses 1 to 42. So after Krishna marries Satyabhama, he once went to Hastinapura. This is interesting why he went. So the news was that Krishna sorry, that the Pandavas had perished in the House of Black. And so there was a funeral for the Pandavas. All the kings of the of Bharat, they went to Hastinapur to pay tribute to the Pandavas during their funeral ceremony to honor them, to honor their passing. So Krishna went as well. Sukadeva Goswami tells us Krishna knew they hadn't died, but he, he was aware they were alive. But he went to Hastinapura with Balaram as a matter of worldly protocol. That is, everyone else thought they had died, and so to fulfill expectations of his position as a prince, the other family, and he went uh, to honor the Pandavas in that way. While he was out of Dwarka, then there was some mischief that came up. Akrura, yes, that great devotee of the exemplar of Vandanam, and Kritavarma, they both approached Satadanva and incited him to steal the Syamantaka jewel from Satyajit. So we can wonder at this, why? Why would they do this? So one argument for their motivation in instigating, putting Satadanva up to this, is that Satyajit had promised Satyabhama in marriage to both of them. And so they were feeling slighted when Satyajit instead gave Satyabhama in marriage to Krishna. That's one argument. The other is that they were devotees of Krishna and they were angry that Satyajit had refused Krishna's initial request and had spread rumors against Krishna. And so they put, um, they wanted Satyajit punished. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives both explanations. And then Satadhanva, for his part, he was a bad person anyway. He was evil. Sukadeva Goswami describes him as an evil person. And so when they told him about the value of the jewel and that he should take it, that he was ready to do it because he was greedy, lusty, envious, and violent. So sinful Satadhanva murdered Satrajit in his sleep and stole the jewel. And then Satyabhama, daughter of Satrajit, Krishna's wife, when she heard the news, she lamented, oh my father, and she rushed to Hastinapura to report this sorrowful news of her father's murder to Krishna. And so Krishna quickly returned to Dwarka with Balaram to punish Satadhanva. Satadhanva, understanding that Krishna had returned and was going to punish him, he rushed to Kritavarma and said, Kritavarma, you have to help me. Kritavarma says, there's no way I can help you. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no way I can help you from him if he's angry with you. He approached Akrura. Akrura said the same thing. And so Satadhanva left the jewel with Akrura and fled. He left Dvarka. Meanwhile, Krishna pursued him and came close and then sent his Sudarshan Chakra and killed Satadhanva. But then it turned out that Satadhanva didn't have the jewel. Sukadev Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Krishna knew this all along anyway, but he's played the role. And so Krishna returned to Dvaraka, and as he returned to Dvaraka, Akrura fled. Where did he flee to? He fled to Benares or Kashi with the jewel, and he stayed in exile for many, many years. Some people started spreading another rumor now that Krishna considered Akrura a rival and therefore had sent him into exile because he didn't want competition around. Other people spread another rumor that Krishna himself had kept the jewel. and he had it with him in Dvarka. And so eventually Krishna invited Akrura to come back to Dvarka, and he had Akrura admit publicly that he had the jewel, and he had Akrura show the respectable members of the community of Dwarka that he indeed had the jewel. And then Krishna returned the jewel to Akrura, and thus he cleared his name. So, what are we to take from all of this? Sukadeva Goswami, in fact, gives us a hint. At the end of this 57th chapter, he tells us what we can learn from this narration. He says, this narration, rich with descriptions of the prowess of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, removes sinful reactions and bestows all auspiciousness. Anyone who recites, hears, or remembers it will drive away his own infamy and sins and attain peace. How's that for a blessing? By hearing this narration, by reciting it, by remembering it, your own infamy and sins will be removed and you will attain peace. So we can reflect more deeply. We can think about the consequences of greed and deceit, the greed-driven actions of Akrura and Kritavarma, inciting Shatadanva to steal the jewel, resulted in a tragic chain of events, showing us the consequences of selfishness and greed and manipulation, and how they lead to suffering and loss. Another lesson, very important lesson for us, is brought out by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says that Akrura had to live in exile in Benares or Kashi due to his offense of taking Krishna away from Vrindavan. His offense to the gopis, to the Vasis. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, therefore, we have to be careful of Vaishnava aparad. But the key lesson here is that if you're an object of suspicion or accusation or rumor, know that Krishna was as well. Don't be too despondent. It's part of living and taking responsibility in this world. And if you are concerned by this, then read the section of the Bhagavatam and be free of infamy and clear your name in that way. Okay, so we can conclude with a prayer. Beloved Krishna, in the accusatory shadows of Satyajit's claim, even you, the Supreme Lord, faced the biting arrows of misunderstanding. The world, veiled in illusion, cast its dark whispers upon your name, a reminder that none is spared from the venom of false rumor and enmity. We learned through this pastime that criticism is a thunderstorm passing through the sky of existence, momentary, fierce yet fleeting. Grant us the wisdom to weather these storms with the unwavering grace of your being. Satyajit's refusal birthed a tapestry of inauspiciousness, echoing the dissonance of our own lives when they diverge from your divine will. Teach us, dear Krishna, the sacred art of alignment, of syncing our aspirations with the symphony of your cosmic design. Let our existence uh, be woven not with the threads of ego and, and desire that fray the fabric of destiny that you weave for us. In the saga of the jewel's recovery and union with two princesses, we glean the radiant pearls of humility, forgiveness, and the ephemeral nature of material wealth. Your example guided not by the allure of possessions or the shackles of pride, but by the dance of rectifying misunderstandings and restoring order, whispering to us the profound truth. Value resides not in gold or accolades, but in the luminosity of a heart surrendered to grace. In the scandalous interplay of Satanamba, Kritavarma, and Akura, we face the haunting shadows of greed and deceit, mirrors reflecting the consequence of selfish pursuits and manipulative hearts. Akura's exile in Kashi, an echo of the exile of our own souls when tainted with the offense of Vaishnava Parad, warns us of the perils of veering from the path of righteousness. Dear Krishna, amidst suspicion's cruel embrace, amidst the whispers and accusations that cloak our existence in shadows, you stand as a beacon of resilience. You too bore the weight of doubt and emerged radiant, unblemished by infamy. Let us drink from the sacred narrations that chronicle your trials, finding solace in the knowledge that within these pages lies the balm to heal our tarnished names. Jai. Well, let me acknowledge some of you who joined after we started speaking. And in the meantime, if you have any comments, questions, or reflections, please do type it into the chat and we can explore further. All right, so we have Govinda Shyam with us. Gopal Govinda Shyam Prabhuji says, Hare Krishna Sri Prahlada Prabhu. Thank you for joining. Gopal Govinda Shyam, an honor to have you with us. Gaurachandra Das joining us from New Zealand says, Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavats. Nikunja says, I just listened to Indrajumna Swami's lecture last week, Stimulation of Ecstatic Love, Syamantaka Jewel. And there's a link there for those of you who want to follow Maharaj's lecture on this topic. Thank you for sharing this resource, Nikunja. Janavamata joining us from Dunedin in the South Island of New Zealand says, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Excuse me. Thank you for being here with us, Janavamata. Sheshavati joining us from Australia says, Hare Krishna, welcome Sheshavati, thank you for being here. Monica Sharma is with us from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for joining. And we have Shama Manjari as well, whose greeting we read earlier. We have a nice comment. Beautiful prayer and class. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Thank you, Shama Manjari, for your ongoing encouragement, enthusiasm. Jadava Mata has a comment or question here. Thank you as always for shining the light in the dark. This class couldn't have come at a better time. What do we do when our gurus, including Srila Prabhupada, are being criticized? Should we defend them or just let the offenders rot in their own aparad? I find it all so disturbing. Thank you for the question, Janavamata. So we are given some options as to what to do, because where do we find that? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Benares, then Prakashananda Saraswati and his followers were saying many nasty things about Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya had two devotees in Varanasi. They were, can anyone say? Tapana Mishra and Chandrasekhara, two devotees of Lord Chaitanya. They felt much pain in their hearts at these criticisms of Lord Chaitanya. And there, in that description, we're told that the devotee has some options when they hear other Vaishnavas being criticized, or spiritual master being criticized, or the Lord being criticized. One is that we debate with them philosophically, the opposing party. We formally debate and we establish the siddhanta. If that's not possible, another option is that this is not for today. So I'm just repeating what's there in the Shastra, but don't follow this because it's not available to us today. So one thing with the debate requires also that both parties are willing to engage in what is called vad. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am uh, communication, let's say, or debate, which is of the quality of vad. That is where both parties are seeking truth. In such a climate, then a debate or a discussion can be very fruitful. Both parties bring their different evidences together, and honestly, they evaluate the evidences that come forward, the different references to Shastra, and they arrive at a conclusion. If that's not possible, then it's a waste of time, that kind of debate, because what happens, you end up with other types of discussion. They're described in Nyaya Sutras as chala, trickery, or vitanda, where you're just trying to win at all costs. You keep changing your argument to win. You change your argument as new evidences are brought forward. So that's not considered fruitful. Uh, Trickiness, vitanda, what's another one? Anyway, those are some that I remember. But what is described as beneficial is vad, where both parties are actually looking for truth. If there's not a context where vad is possible, then don't bother engaging. So that's the first option. Another option given that I started saying earlier is not for us in this time. Probably I shouldn't even say it. So it is written, not what I am advocating. This is what is written. It says you cut out the blasphemer's tongue. So that's not for us in this time and place. So we cross that one out. The other is that we just go jump in the Ganges with our clothes on to purify ourselves. In other words, you go and do your own sadhana. You hear Krishna's holy name, you chant Krishna's holy name, you engage in service, and you don't pay attention to those that are criticized or spreading false rumors and accusations. In the case of Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra, they asked Lord Chaitanya himself to go and address Prakashananda and his followers because they didn't feel that they were qualified to discuss with him in a way where they could establish Lord Chaitanya's position. And so eventually there was an arrangement where Prakashananda and Lord Chaitanya and Prakashananda's followers all happened to be in the same place at the same time. And that presented the ideal opportunity for Lord Chaitanya to engage in that discussion. And you see it was one of Vad, because when you read the discussion, it's very fruitful. There was great humility all around. There's a discussion of the evidences that are available from Shastra. And in the end, those that were criticizing Lord Chaitanya, they apologize and they take to following the teachings that Lord Chaitanya had given to take shelter of the holy name and to dance ecstatically as the essential teaching of the Veda. So hopefully you found some benefit from that response. The other reason to engage in the debate, Janavamata, is not that you can convince those that are envious and they're not going to be objective in considering the evidence available. That maybe you will defend not to convince the person who criticizes, but those that are confused by them. So, for the sake of others who may be confused, they might present the positive view that is being obscured. The clouds that are obscuring the sun, the clouds of doubt, rumor, and suspicion that may obscure the sun. So, for the benefit of others, you might reveal the sun Not that you will be able to convince the one who criticizes, but you might be able to help some of those that are confused by those who criticize. Otherwise, just engage in your own sadhana, your own preaching, with your own association of devotees who inspire and uplift you, and you leave those who criticize to criticize, because that's what they will do anyway. Some will look at the moon and criticize, oh, there is a dark spot. So rather than seeing all the light and beauty on the moon, they will focus on those spots, and they'll let um, they'll let that cloud their vision. They're unable to appreciate the beauty and the glory of the moon. What to do? If we can't help, then engage with those who you can help, or who will help you, uplift and inspire you. That is the Madhyama Vaishnava. The Madhyama Vaishnava has discernment. Rupa Goswami tells us. Also uh, the Navayogendras, they tell us in the 11th canto. The Madhyama Vaishnava, that is the advanced devotee, the middle level advanced devotee, has discernment. They uh, give mercy to those who are junior to them. They help to lift them up. They avoid those who are envious. Otherwise, you provoke them and they bring out more of their venom. So the Madhyama Vaishnava avoids them. And the Madhyama Vaishnava makes firm friendships with those who are svajati, of the same mentality and mood, that they inspire one another and serve together. And the Madhyama Vaishnava serves those who are senior, to receive guidance and direction from them. So in this way, the Madhyama Vaishnava has a variety of different types of relationships with devotees and the people in general, interacting according to other people's level of spiritual realization and commitment. So we can apply that also in relation to those who are envious and criticize. Rupa Goswami's principle would be applied by saying, you avoid, no need to be involved. If you are to be involved, it will be out of compassion for those who are pious but may be confused by others. Okay, so we've given lots of shastric support for some different strategies you might employ. Thank you for the question. Joan is with us from Sydney, or Wollongbar. Thank you for being here, Joan. Kirtina says, thank you for this lecture. May I ask a question about being the observer to all qualities? Who is the observer? Good question. Yeah. The observer is the soul. So when we're operating on the mental platform, we identified with the mind. When we're identified with ahankara, false ego, then we, based on our false ego, then we decide, I want this. Let's say we identify with the ego of a dog, then we say, I want that bone. And then our mind says, that bone is dry, or this bone is very fresh and tasty. Why are we making these judgments? Because we are ahankara is identified with dog mentality, and therefore for the dog, the bone is something that is attractive, and then we make judgment based on that. Now, when we step back from ahankara, we are looking on the platform of soul, the soul platform. And so that is the position that we want to operate from, not from the mind, but from the platform of the conscious soul, who's not identified with false ego, but is identified with pure consciousness. That's an elevated state, but it's something that we are working towards. So, what is the platform of soul? We can understand it theoretically, I guess, initially for us, but we have eyes but who sees? Not the eyeball, it's someone behind the eyeball. We hear, but it's not the ear drum that hears, the ear organ. It's someone behind the ear organ. Similarly, we have a mind. It's not the mind that um, ultimately desires. Behind the mind, the intelligence of the ego is he, or the is the soul. So to be the observer is to come to the soul platform, free of passion and attachment and false ego. That's what we aspire to. Is that the answer? Does that answer your question? Just confirm for me that I'm answering in relation to what you were asking. So yeah, when we're identifying with the mind, when we're identifying with the false ego, we get caught up in anger, we get caught up in hatred, we get caught up in attachment, we get caught up in desire. And when we find ourselves reacting to the material nature with hatred and anger and attachment and desire, we can step outside and say, oh, that's interesting. That anger, that's interesting. That hatred, how did I get caught up in that? And then we are observing our attachment, we're observing our anger, we're observing our desire, we're removed from it. And then we can learn from it. What am I to learn from this attachment? What's the false ego that's connected to that anger? What's the ego identity associated with that desire and hatred? And then we extract ourselves from that as well. And so we start to unpeel the layers of our conditioning, we become more aware of our conditioning, and we become less embedded in it. We kind of wake up from it, extract ourselves from it. Of course, by the mercy of the holy name, and we're able to operationalize this more and more. Hopefully that answers your question. Satyabhama says, cutting out their tongue in this age is to block them from, okay, block them on Facebook. Yeah, yeah, good insight there. We apply, because generally that's something that's a bit concerning, that idea. But there you are, you found the practical way to apply it. Block them from Facebook, or at least from our feed, our page and our feed, so that we don't need to interact. Gentleman Mata says, thank you for a very helpful answer. Thank you for a great question. Yeah, I'm always appreciative of your questions. Nikunja says, we have an inner circle and an outer circle. So we can control the inner circle, but not the outer circle. So can we speak up on something that is on our outer circle, at the same time be careful of our intention and how we deliver our message? That we are not criticizing that person, but the act, the sin, and not the sinner. Good question, Nikunja. Um, so there'll be some reasons why to speak up and why to remain silent. We speak up if we feel we can help. We speak up if we feel particularly so, yeah, the inner circle is we have some influence over the situation or the person, then we have a responsibility to speak up. If it's the outer circle, then we might be also concerned that others will be harmed, that we have a duty to speak up. Our speaking up may involve publicly speaking up, or it might be that we approach those who do have influence, those for whom that situation is their inner circle. May not be ours, but maybe some other person, and we speak up by bringing the attention of those for whom it is an inner circle, and we do our duty that way. If we don't speak up and others come to harm when we could have prevented it, then we also have some responsibility there as well. Uh, so it's a a delicate balance. So can we speak up on something that is in our outer circle, at the same time being careful of our intention? That's what we need to do, be very careful of our intention. That's the all important consideration there. And then sometimes even if our intention is good, other people will misunderstand and criticize what to do. That's the part of being in the material world. Even when we're trying very hard, we'll misunderstand at different times. Um, so yeah, as members of a community, we also have a responsibility to speak up, particularly if we can make a difference. If our speaking up we feel would make absolutely no difference, no one will hear, there's no benefit to it whatsoever, we just disturb ourselves and disturb others, then maybe it's not for us to speak up then. Uh, or maybe our speaking up, you asked, how should we speak? Maybe it's that um, we take that message quietly to those that do have influence, and that's what we need to be doing our duty there. That's how we're taking responsibility. It's a delicate, all of these things are a delicate balance. So we should be taking guidance on the case by case basis as well. There's no one answer for every situation. Kirtina says, yes, thank you. That's in relation to the question that was asked about being the observer. Kirtina says, grateful for the answer. I'm grateful to all of you for your being here. We also have people on Instagram that we're broadcasting to live as well. So that's also nice. Some comments. Guru Maharaj saying he visited Russia, Ukraine. He even got to meet. No, that's not true. Wayne. um, so Wayne is here. Let's see. Yeah. So thank you for those of you joining us on Instagram as well. We wish all of you health and happiness. May you deepen your taste for chanting the holy name. May you deepen your appreciation for hearing and chanting Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. May you deepen your appreciation for Sri Vigraha, for serving the deity. May you deepen your appreciation of devotees and take advantage of the opportunity to associate with devotees and serve devotees whenever possible. And may you deepen your appreciation for Sri Vrindavan. And with these practices, may your heart be softened that you are impelled to share the treasures of bhakti with others as well. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Bol.